Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be looking at something pretty fascinating and pretty relevant to everyone listening. We're talking about artificial intelligence.
AI.
Yeah, exactly, AI,
Mm.
and how it's becoming a bigger and bigger part of our lives.
Yeah.
Not just the kind of the big picture stuff that we hear about, but also how AI is starting to impact our personal growth and our well-being. I mean, it really wasn't that long ago that AI felt like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Right. It was like the Terminator or something.
Yeah, exactly. But now, it's quietly becoming part of our everyday routines. And I think that opens up some really interesting possibilities. What do you think?
I think you're spot on. And what's really striking to me is the speed at which these AI tools are evolving. They're going way beyond just, simple tasks, and they're starting to provide some really personalized support. Like they're actually getting into what's going on inside.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit.
Mm.
When we talk about AI helping us grow personally, what are we really talking about? What kind of things are we actually seeing out there?
So the chapter that we're using as a kind of a springboard for this deep dive, it's a really insightful piece. It points to a couple of key areas. And those would be things like AI-powered journaling, which
Yeah,
is,
I was really intrigued by that when I saw that.
yeah, and also what they call emotionally intelligent virtual assistants. And, these aren't just about sort of logging information like a basic app might. It's really about using AI to help you understand yourself on a deeper level.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. I mean, traditionally, if you wanted to gain real insights into your thoughts or your feelings or track your progress, you'd probably, go to a therapist, you'd work with a coach.
They have a mentor.
Exactly. You'd have a mentor, someone with that human expertise.
Right, flesh and blood.
Right, exactly. But the idea here is that AI can, in a way, act like a mirror.
Yeah.
It can help you see patterns and make connections that you might not see on your own.
Absolutely. And it can do it without any judgment, which can be a big barrier for a lot of people when it comes to, self-reflection and seeking help.
Yeah. Right, that makes sense. I mean, nobody wants to feel judged when they're trying to work on themselves.
Right.
So the main idea, as this chapter lays it out, is really about boosting our self-awareness. It's giving us a way to see our own journey more clearly, and then ultimately getting some really valuable insights out of that. Would you say that's fair?
Absolutely. And the potential impact of that is huge. If you think about how many people out there could really benefit from a better understanding of themselves and having the tools to manage their well-being. And a lot of those individuals may not have access to those traditional resources like therapy or coaching.
Yeah, that's a really important point. It's really about access in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
So the goal of this deep dive, and this is, drawing from this chapter that we've been talking about, is to really explore how AI is being used right now.
Mm.
And what kind of potential it holds for helping us grow as individuals and supporting our mental well-being. And this isn't just theory. This is stuff that's actually happening.
It really is. And as we get deeper into this, I think you'll see that even though the technology is relatively new, this fundamental human desire that we all have for self-improvement and, finding a greater sense of well-being, that's been with us forever.
Right, we've always wanted this.
Right. But AI is just offering us a brand new way to approach those goals.
Okay, so let's dive into this idea of AI-powered journaling. I have to admit, when I first heard that phrase, I kind of pictured, a robot therapist sitting there patiently listening to me vent. But I have a feeling it's a little more sophisticated than that.
Oh, it's definitely a lot more sophisticated than that. It's not just a robot with a notepad and a very patient expression. At its core, what AI-powered journaling does is it uses something called natural language processing. So it's looking at the words you write, the language you use. But what's really cool is that the AI can start to pick out recurring themes. It can see patterns in your emotions, as you express them in writing. It can even notice like subtle shifts in the words you're using that might signal that something's changing in how you're feeling.
Wow, so it's not just keeping a record of my entries, it's like it's actually reading between the lines.
It really is. So for instance, an AI might notice that you tend to use more negative language when you're writing about a particular person in your life or maybe a particular situation,
Oh.
right? Or it could pick up on the fact that you consistently express more anxiety on certain days of the week. And these are the kinds of patterns that we as humans might not consciously pick up on ourselves.
So this is where it gets really interesting for you listening. If the AI can actually spot these kinds of patterns, what happens next? Does it just hand me a list of, all the negative words I've used, like, hey, you've used the word frustrated 17 times this month?
Well, it could do that, but the more advanced systems, they're actually going to offer you insights and even prompts to think more deeply about what you've written. So it's not just about pointing out the patterns. It's about helping you explore them.
Okay, so it's more interactive.
It is. It's much more interactive. And it can even be customized to your specific needs and goals.
That makes a lot of sense. It's almost like having a really patient, really analytical reader who gets to know you intimately through your writing. And it can help you see those blind spots that you were talking about earlier.
Exactly. And it can also track your progress over time. So, are you expressing more gratitude in your entries now than you were, say, a month ago? Is the overall, emotional tone of your writing becoming more positive?
Well, that would be encouraging to see.
It can be really encouraging. And the AI can actually quantify those shifts. So you're not just kind of guessing or going on your gut feeling. You're actually seeing, some hard data that's showing you how you're growing.
Okay, so it's not just about pointing out the challenges, it's also about highlighting when things are getting better.
Exactly. And reinforcing, what's working well for you. It can be a very powerful motivator.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about those emotionally intelligent virtual assistants that you mentioned earlier. I mean, I immediately think of the AI on my phone, but is this something different?
It's similar, but it goes a step further. So emotionally intelligent virtual assistants, they go beyond just, scheduling your appointments and setting reminders. They're actually designed to perceive and respond to your emotional state.
Wow, so like if I'm talking to it and I sound really stressed, the AI could pick up on that.
Yes, exactly. It could analyze the tone of your voice, the
Mhm.
words you use, even your facial expressions if you're interacting through video.
That is amazing. So it's not just, giving me a did you mean response. It's actually like picking up on how I'm feeling.
Right. And a truly emotionally intelligent assistant wouldn't just notice that you sound stressed. It might actually offer you suggestions for how to manage that stress. Like it might suggest a short breathing exercise or remind you to take a break or even just offer you words of encouragement.
That's wild. It's almost like having a supportive presence there with you.
In a way, it is. And these assistants, they can learn your preferences and your emotional patterns over time. So the more you interact with it, the more personalized and empathetic the support becomes.
That is pretty amazing. But it also makes you think about our relationship with technology in a whole new way. Like relying on AI for emotional support. It feels very futuristic, but also maybe a little vulnerable.
That's a valid concern. And it's something that, researchers and developers are definitely thinking about. I mean, where do we draw the line between, getting support from AI and the need for human connection and human empathy? It's a really important question.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about the potential for becoming too reliant on these tools.
Right.
Or even, can AI ever truly understand the really nuanced aspects of human emotion?
Those are big questions. And, there are definitely ongoing discussions and research about, the ethical implications of AI data privacy, the potential for biases and how AI algorithms are developed. These are all really crucial conversations to be having as this technology continues to evolve.
Absolutely. We can't just blindly embrace this without thinking about the potential downsides.
Right. It's all about being informed and making conscious choices about how we use these tools.
So would you say that the overall message of this chapter is more about the potential benefits of AI, or is it more cautionary?
I think it's definitely more focused on the positive possibilities. It's about, how AI can help us understand ourselves better,
Hmm.
how we can use it to see our progress in really tangible ways, and how it can offer us insights that can support our growth.
So it's more about how we can use this technology to empower ourselves.
Exactly. It's about seeing AI as a tool that can enhance our lives, not replace human connection or, take over our decision making.
That makes sense. So it sounds like the integration of AI into our lives for personal development and mental well-being,
Mm,
it's not some distant future scenario.
yeah,
It's happening now.
it really is. It's happening through things like these AI-powered journals that can analyze your writing and these emotionally intelligent virtual assistants that are learning to respond to our emotions.
And all of this is leading to, increased self-awareness, helping us track our progress in new ways, and providing access to insights that traditionally you would have had to go to a human expert for.
Precisely. And I think that increased access is one of the most exciting aspects of this whole thing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to think about all the possibilities that are opening up. And as these technologies keep evolving, it's exciting to think about, what kind of even more sophisticated support we might have access to in the future.
It's a rapidly changing landscape, that's
Yeah.
for sure. It'll be interesting to see where it all goes.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into a topic that I think is really relevant to all of us. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. It's been really insightful.
It's been my pleasure. It's always great to have these conversations.
And thank you to all of you for listening to this deep dive with us. We hope you found it interesting and informative. And as you go about your day, we'd like to leave you with a thought to ponder. As AI becomes more and more integrated into our lives, how might that change how we understand what it means to improve ourselves? And what role will human connection continue to play in that process? It's something to think about. Until next